Welcome to Local Edition. I'm Brad Pomerance in the Long Beach area today, joined by the mayor of Carson. His name is Albert Robles, and I want to speak with you, sir, about a recent executive order coming out of the Trump administration. In the first week, while he was in office, the Trump administration declared that cities and counties would lose federal funding if they did not cooperate with federal immigration agents. Regardless of how a city defined itself, if you don't cooperate, you're losing federal funding. What do you make of that?
Well, it's unfortunate that it goes in the face of the long history and tradition of the United States of America and our founding. You know, all of us are immigrants, except for the Native Americans.
Right.
Everyone else is an immigrant. Donald Trump's own wife is a recent immigrant from Eastern Europe, so she's an immigrant. My city, the great city of Carson, is a very, very diverse community. Plus or minus 1 percentage point, it's 25% African American, 25% Anglo, 25% Asian, and 40% Latino,
Right.
because Latinos are defined cross racial boundaries.
So
I say all that.
yeah.
I'm sorry, Brett. I say
Please.
all that just to say that Carson is a microcosm of the entire United States in terms of our diversity. It's balanced, and we all work well together. It's an awesome community, and many of our residents are first-generation residents that come to Carson because they feel welcome, they feel like they're wanted there, and they can contribute to the city, and that's what makes Carson great. That's what makes America great.
The challenge becomes the president arguably has the authority to make a declaration that if there is not cooperation, we won't provide federal funds. Now, it's not clear how broad he can withdraw federal funds, but there is some precedent to suggest that he may be able to withdraw some. How far does Carson go in fighting with the federal government as it relates to immigration?
It's a predicament that we're in, but we are patrolled by the LA County Sheriff's Department. And the LA County Sheriff's Department as one of the lead law enforcement agencies, not only in the state, but the county, premier. It's literally a model for other law enforcement agencies around the country. They have a policy that they apply countywide where they don't inquire as to the immigration status of witnesses or victims, because if they did, or if that concern was became prevalent in the community, that would undermine law enforcement's role in terms of getting information from witnesses, getting cooperation from the victims, and we don't want that.
And it's interesting you mention the LA County Sheriff, because we keep hearing this term sanctuary city. But the reality is, as it relates to criminal justice, cities don't have a lot of involvement in criminal justice. It's the county.
Correct.
And so while LA City may declare itself a sanctuary city, yes, they have an LAPD, but it's the county that deals with serious criminal matters. So my question becomes, there's only so much Carson can do vis-a-vis criminal justice matters. You contract with the sheriff. It's the sheriff that decides whether they're going to interact with immigration agents. So where do you go with that?
You're correct, Brad. And we don't tell the sheriffs to investigate this crime or that crime, prosecute this crime or that crime. That's completely out of our control. And other than telling the sheriff to keep us safe, make sure that our community is and our residents feel protected and our businesses feel protected so their businesses can thrive, our hands are tied and limited as to what we can do with respect to law enforcement.
But do you have a sense how far, if I may ask, you want to take this? Look, there are some cities that are ready to go to the hilt. San Francisco has already sued the federal government. as it relates to the mere threat of withdrawing federal funds. They are declared a sanctuary city. Terms can mean a lot of different things. You know, you do have a population of significant numbers of Latinos. How far do you want to push this?
Well, you know, as the mayor,
Right.
I'm the mayor for the entire city. I don't consider myself a Latino mayor. I
Right.
don't consider myself a mayor for this constituency or that constituency. I view myself as the mayor for the entire city.
So what is the city telling you as you're at the grocery store, as you're in city council? What are you hearing?
The residents are very, very concerned as to what is it that our president is doing, what's his goal, what's his objective. I was at Carson High last week talking with students, and students whose parents' legal status here is not clear,
Right.
they're very frightened. They're afraid of what's going to happen to them. If their parents are deported, what happens to them? Who do they go to live with? And that, Brad, is what's most disconcerting about this whole process. That I think if President Trump was going to do this, I think he should have taken the time to explain exactly what is it that he meant, what is his intention, how he intends to continue with this moving forward. But what we have instead is a situation where kids, parents, residents are unsure of what's going to happen. And that uncertainty is actually more troublesome, more bothersome to the residents than knowing. If they knew what was going to happen, then they would be able to deal with it. But it's that uncertainty that causes the nightmares, as these kids told me. High school.
So in terms of that nightmare, what do you tell your residents? Because many are feeling as if they're living in a nightmare.
They are. And I believe in America, in the goodness of the American people, and in the greatness of our country. And I think that while at the temporary basis, President Trump is maybe not doing the best he can in terms of how he's handling this, I'm hopeful that very quickly he's going to realize that how he's let this process unfold is not the best in his personal interest and in the country's interest, and things are going to get better. I am also hopeful that American citizens around the country, and not just here in California, but around the country, are going to come to the realization that this immigrant bashing, this he's not like me, he doesn't look like me mentality is not helpful to making America great, you know, to borrow his phrase. That doesn't contribute to our greatness. Our greatness is based on that diversity of ideas, diversity of opinions, diversity of our population.
Right.
And this is going completely contrary to that.
And you'll come back and talk more about it?
Absolutely.
Okay. His
Absolutely.
name is Albert Robles. He is the mayor of the city of Carson. My name is Brad Pomerance. We're so glad you joined us on Local Edition.